Right, we have got some awesome shirts from Latin America here. We have got Flamengo from Brazil, Corinthians also from Brazil, Boca Juniors from Argentina, and then the Mexican Club America. So some awesome graphics, some downplayed graphics, but each of them quite meaningful. So I thought it was worth us taking a look at all these together. I'm going to start with the Club America one because it's a team who I always love what their base shirt template is. The home shirt is truly iconic, but often kind of feels ruined by the amount of sponsors on it, where here we've got AT&T, Home Depot, Total, GNP on the sleeves. We've got Corona on the back and Caliente as well. So there's a lot going on there. But with this particular design, it all
Works.
Yeah, works nicely. I think everyone's kind of literally taken one for the team in terms of blending in with the graphic, which is really nice. It's all part of the same print, the swoosh and the club crest being the only things that have been applied afterwards. I think something that I would call out here is that feels off-centre within this graphic, which I can imagine is quite difficult to get right because it's going to be a difficult pattern to cut out if you think of the lie of the fabric.
I like that though. I've got to say I like that kit.
Yeah, it's a great kit. I can imagine there being some consistency issues with trying to get that right. You can see here that this isn't quite centralised.
That's going to give as well.
Yeah, but it's a great shirt. I think if I was a collector, I would definitely want it. But other than the print, there's not a lot of shirt for your money. We've seen the emboss down the side of a lot of the Nike replicas. It's not on this one. But the fabric's quite nice. Got a nice soft hand feel
it's certainly
to it.
better than some of the replica fabrics that we've seen in the European teams.
Yeah, so I think it's a bit
Marks
of a
out
winner.
of 11.
Out of 11, I'm going to give that one a 4. I think I'd score it high for the graphics, but as a shirt, it's not great. Oh, come on in, 5.
Yeah, I mean, I really like it. It's a shirt that I'd actually probably wear.
Because the graphics not centred and it's clearly designed to be, and it's not
Pot,
in the
look
middle.
what you get.
Yeah.
If I was a collector, I'd be all over that.
Yeah.
Absolutely all over
you
that.
definitely want that. Next up, we have
kit.
the Boca Juniors third kit, which another replica is absolutely great. Obviously, you've reviewed this one separately, so I don't need to go into stacks of detail on it. I think being inspired by some of the local buildings around the stadium, which are apparently painted with leftover paint from
the boats.
Yeah, so that explains where the graphic's from. It's really nice. I think it kind of speaks to the visual language that's starting to emerge across a lot of the teams in Latin America now. Something that was in the Middle East for a while, where all the teams, or at least the bigger teams out there, wanted to have a bit of a graphic story happening, and it seems across Latin America now, whether that's been driven by the brands, the clubs, a bit of both.
Yeah.
We're seeing stuff that's a little bit more adventurous.
Yeah, totally. I mean, just a general point on this season's kits, I think the graphic teams across the different brands have just been absolutely superb.
Yeah, it's great.
I mean, there's been some brilliant graphic work, and fair play. I mean, Nike have just absolutely knocked it out the park.
Yeah.
And to be fair to Adidas, they've done some really lovely things as well.
Yeah. I think what I like is the amount of insight that we've seen across the graphics everywhere. And these guys are big clubs, but you wouldn't expect them to get the same level of attention of a Real Madrid or a Barcelona or whoever. But the fact that they've not just got a fancy graphic that might show up elsewhere, but this one, for instance, for Corinthians,
Love that.
inspired by the fractured pavements of Sao Paulo, it's just
Or Scotland.
yeah, or Scotland, yeah, potholes galore. But no, it's just, it's a really nice graphic in its own right. Again, it hasn't got the additional detail down the side, but it's nice that rather than just cut and seam that, they've done it as a placed print. So it stops and then leaves the space for the name and number set on the back. We've got the raised rubber detailing on the back of the neck. Love the fact that it's got a really big crest on the front of it.
Yeah, that was quite a big thing in a lot of the national teams that Nike did a number of years ago.
Yeah, and it's great because there are rules and regulations around how big these can be, but they've absolutely gone to the max on that, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether this is ultimately going to have a sponsor on it on pitch. Hope not. Although it's probably the nature of the beast.
Love it.
And then finally here we have got Flamengo from Brazil, and this shirt, as you can see from all the 1981s referenced on it, is inspired by what they wore in the World Club Championships in 1981. It's a pretty simple approach to the design. It's a very classic look and feel for the club. It's quite a nice execution, but it's a bit obvious just having 1981 all over
kit.
it.
I mean,
it's
pretty pants, if you ask me.
Doesn't feel great. The thing that is really nice is the little transfer on the back, which not only has the gold text on the black base, but the black base has got like this kind of raised 1981 built
So that's
into
all you
it.
get for your 1981 reference.
That's about the size of it.
A little bit in the graphic.
Yeah, I mean,
I
it's-
think that's pretty poor, really. I mean,
Yeah,
as a
it's-
fan, I would be most upset.
Yeah, I mean, it's printed on a white base. It's made in Brazil, which, based on the import duties of getting stuff into Brazil, most stuff
Yeah,
in
well,
Brazil's
a
made
lot of the
there,
brands
isn't it?
make a lot of stuff down in Brazil and
Yeah.
Peru and those sorts of places, which
So-
makes total sense. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with it either. The quality is great.
It's well made, it's well put together. There's just not a lot of bang for your buck.
That's a massive fucking embroidery, though. Oh, wow. Look at that, man. That's not bad.
Yeah, so that at least they've got the backer on the embroidery, so
Yeah,
no
that's what I was
distractions.
talking about, though. If you think of the consistency across some of those Adidas kits we've looked at,
Yeah.
and then there, they've got it right. Okay, fine. But then they've not even got it right on their actual branding. It's like, come on.
Disappointing.
Yeah, really disappointing.
Because it's not adding a lot of cost, is it?
As a fan wearing that, I mean, your nips are going to be bosh.
So we are going to say probably a 2 for that, just because the execution there is nice, and that's something I've not really seen before.
Love that, love that. I don't think that's going back to Subside, mate.
If we keep it, we've got to give it away. You can't just have it.
I might wear it for a little bit.
So I feel sorry for whoever wins that. So we'll probably give this, I think, a 6 as well. I'd put it on a par with this one. The 2 Nike ones have been really nicely executed. This one you scored about a 5 or a 6.
I think so. I
as
marked
well.
it down because I thought the fabric was average.
Yeah.
But no, I like it. I mean, I've got a soft spot for Boca.
It's nice. I think these 3 certainly very collectible. That one, maybe if you've got an affinity for the club, you might want it, but it's not a must-have. But these 3, you would definitely want these in your collection.
Yeah. Smashing.